Your boy the man NJ to the city with the number 2 and TO. Let's go. So one of the other top things that I can explain to everybody is the fact being I'm in favor of when it comes to school and education. I'm in favor of this for this school year. I'm in favor of okay, yeah. I'm in favor of them delaying the start of school in terms of like I'm in favor of, especially in hotbeds, hot spots like Florida with the coronavirus, regardless of whether it's less than 1% of kids that attract this. Me personally, nobody has to agree with this because I might have had a different opinion back in, actually, no, my opinion back in March when they shut everything down was very different than this. I think so. But definitely knowing in hotbeds, hot spots like Florida, it definitely should be on a county by county basis. Okay, the light's taking up half of my head, trying to figure out whether I like that or not with this video. Uh, yeah, I'm trying to figure. We're not trying to figure out anything actually. I am depending. I think it really should be handled on a county by county basis. Um, and so on and so on because regardless whether it's a 1% of COVID-19 deaths amongst children or not, people got to understand children are gonna be interacting with teachers, faculty, and staff that are of the age of people who are dying from this virus. So even if it is, still so unlikely, um, even if it's still so unlikely that your child gets it, I promise you, it makes more sense personally if you delayed the start of school by 2 months, or better yet, reopening schools by 2 months. I am all in favor of people doing virtual school for at least the first month, if not 2 months, if God forbid the whole first semester. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it, because especially in hotbeds like Florida, come on, we do not need to put our kids, any kid, let alone our kids, at risk of contracting this, in school. And God forbid, I've read countless school reviews where God bless what my conservative speakers be talking about on conservative news platforms. But I've read countless school reviews where these kids hate school. You know, these kids hate school. School is not a nurturing place for them. School, they're not learning anything. Their teachers don't care. You name it. Now that's not to say that that's for every school. It's not for every school. It's definitely just for a certain majority of schools, a certain majority of students, and so on. Usually, when you're in some type of academy, IB, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, magnet program, et cetera, for some odd reason, dare I say, those kids end up enjoying school that much more to an extent than standard, or at least they define it as it's more bearable than most kids in standard classes. And I'm not gonna lie, I miss being in Nice so god honest bad because literally one of the top things that I miss about being in Nice is I miss being there to give these kids slash my friends guidance and direction, because one of the top things that I started in at Nice was that I started in giving all the kids, no matter which grade they were in, I started giving them all the guidance, all the direction, tutelage, knowledge, wisdom, expertise to not only once again make their life better, but hopefully make other people's life better. I was the motivational speaker. I was the ambassador slash still am, the face of Nice, the face of VRA, Valley Ridge Academy. I would even say St. John's County School District as a whole. You're not going to find anyone who cares more about kids, school, and developing foundations at school for these kids as much as I do. That means forget written law. Focus on what you're doing on ground earth to enforce that written law. That means in terms of I was the one and I still am the one who cares about kids, to give them guidance, wisdom, advice whenever I see them or whenever they hit me up about God first, whatever, anything, encourage them about God, encourage them about Jesus, encourage them about, schoolwork, how to get through it, how to be better at it, life, school, and sports, my expertise, and more. One of the top things that I miss at Nice was I miss making those human interactions, human connections with people to, help give everybody confidence, share with everybody God's love, and dare I say Christ's testimony. That's what I want to. Okay, I'm a people person, so to divvy that all up, those are some of the top things that I miss because of how much of a people person I am then, or I am now, and I was then, and so on and so on. That does not mean Nate never cared about his schooling and education. No, I did care about my school and education. There's plenty of times where I definitely never forget during my fifth year senior year at Nice. Many times where did I say I didn't want to show up for this, or I didn't want to show up for that in terms of finishing this assignment, that assignment, but I realized I needed to set an example. I needed to just do what was right. I needed to make my own grades, and et cetera, because it's more than, like I say, it's a practice in what you preach mechanism, and that's exactly what a lot of schools lack these days, is a practice what you preach mechanism. It's more of a do as I say, not as I do, and I don't subscribe to that crap no matter what, and so on and so on. But I miss the human interaction with all people, all the students, all the kids, and yeah, even to this day, God bless everybody who's given me the wisdom and guidance and advice on how to talk to kids, or how to conduct myself around them. But I can also assure you, once again, these kids are my friends. They can and will acknowledge me like they most have, and the parents do as well. So I understand what people have to say here and there in terms of keeping me in line or keeping me in check, or even in terms of, dare I say, being PC, politically correct. But I also have to let everyone know I'm willing to die for what I do in the most beautiful, natural way possible. I want to be there to support, mentor, and encourage kids